Let's see if he lets us on now. See if you said it properly. What's that? No. And when he has the format, we'll be on his, I guess. I don't know. All right, it says we're on. That's good. Let's record this bad boy. All right, it's up. Engines to speed. We're ready to go. It's Whiskey Wednesday. Or as my friend Matt said, whiskey and adjacent. We're going down a path of all inclusive type stuff tonight. We'll see how that goes. All right, so Brian's here with us tonight, and what's your official title, Brian?
I'm the vice president of sales for the Northeast for the distillery.
That means absolutely nothing. He does everything here in Massachusetts, and that's really all we care about.
So I cover the Northeast. I do sales, education. I get to do more fun things like this, which is my favorite part of my job.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah. All right, we get a full lineup tonight. So my tray is full. Tell us a little bit about St. George Spirits, because they are in that sort of that league of pioneering sort of craft distilling to the United States, and they're mentioned in the grouping of all those guys that really sort of started this.
Yeah, and I think we are often credited with really starting it. Considered the original artisanal distillery in the United States. We started in 1982. We're based out of Northern California. We're in Alameda, which has been our home since 2004, but we've always been in that area. Jorg Rupf was our founder. Jorg is a really interesting guy. Grew up in Germany, in kind of the Black Forest area. Grew up in a small village, grew their own food, animals, and of course started making booze when he was 12 years old. And he ended up becoming a lawyer and eventually becoming one of the youngest judges in Germany working for the government. And he got a job with the Ministry of Culture, and they sent him over to San Francisco in the 70s. Good time to be there, to kind of learn about the culture of California and America. And pretty quickly, Jorg figured out he did not want to go back to Germany. It's a pretty good time to be out west in the late 70s. But he did kind of find a way to continue to collect a paycheck without really doing much. But he did notice a big hole in the spirits industry back then, especially, everybody was drinking wine coolers and Bartles and James and wine on ice. And he came from this background of making beautiful eau de vies and brandies. And he was blown away by the abundance of produce available in California. So he kind of went back to his roots, and literally a 400 square foot shack is where we started our first distillery. And it was just Jorg. We had 120 gallon still, and first thing we ever made was our pear eau de vie, which we still make to this day. That's our flagship.
Nice.
And Jorg has been, he's inducted into the American Distilling Institute for really creating craft spirits. He's credited with being the pioneer in artisanal spirits. And there was a few other great distilleries that started up around the same time as us. The Germain Robin guys were out there and made beautiful things, beautiful spirits. And Jorg also, he was big as he was coming up. He knew we couldn't survive on our own. Rising tides lifts all ships kind of thing. So he really was generous with his knowledge and his time, and helped set up other distilleries around the country, that a lot of them that we compete with today.
Nice. Well, you're so right. We talk about this all the time, is that there's a camaraderie, because when you're sitting in you're making you're a lot of times making your still or setting up your distillery. There's a lot of problems that arise that other guys have figured out, or they help you, and then you're in turn are supposed to help the next guy, so that there's sort of this general learned knowledge rather than everybody starting from scratch
and everyone fighting for themselves. Yeah, there was a lot of camaraderie in it, and we definitely you've met Lance. We have a few enemies out there, but we're definitely, Lance has continued that tradition, and he has helped many distilleries that have recently started up in the last couple decades or so.
No, Lance is great. I love Lance. All right, so let's get down to it, because we got a lot to get to tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, so what's the first thing we're going to try today?
So the first thing we're going to try is our Botanivore gin.
Now this
Instead,
is usually a set of like three. We came out sort of three different gins
yeah,
with three different sort of like botanicals. Like, but it was more than just different botanicals. It was they're all sort of based on a general theme.
yeah, they really, when Lance created these gins, we were kind of at that forefront of the Western style of gin, right? So uh, juniper's in there, of course, to be a gin, but a little bit in the back seat to all these other botanicals. The original three were the Botanivore, the Terroir gin, and the Dry Rye gin, which we still have. We just launched our Valley gin this past year, which will be the second one we taste. But yeah, they're all these gins that kind of take you to a place and have a story behind them. The Botanivore word we made up, essentially botanical eater, like a carnivore. 19 botanicals go into this. This is 100% non-GMO corn gin.
Okay.
A lot of your classics, juniper, of course, coriander, some citrus peels, but then we're doing stuff like citra hops, cinnamon, cilantro, ginger, orris root, angelica root, dill, star anise, Malabar black peppercorn. There's really a lot going on in this gin. We like to describe this one as a meadow in bloom.
Now, this is also how do you do your gins? So there's a variety of ways of getting the botanicals
Yeah.
into the distilled spirit. What methodology do you guys use to do that?
Great question. So we, on our two big stills, which are only 400 gallons,
Yeah, the big giant
the
still
giant
of
ones,
400
yeah,
gallons.
and we just got our second 400 gallon about 9 years ago. So they are custom built Holstein stills from Germany, and we have the ability to, on these stills, pot distill, column distill, and vapor distill. So to your question, a lot of your classics, like your London Dries, when they say they have a gin basket, it's a literal gin basket that they hang in their stills, and the vapors are coming up and
Go through
grabbing
it.
some of those. So our gin basket is actually outside of our stills. So if you think of a big pot still, right, and then we have the column next to it. So we're putting the hard botanicals right into the stills, the juniper, the citrus peels, things like that. The things that are more delicate, like cilantro or dill or bay laurel, those go up into our gin basket, which is essentially this canister about this wide outside of our stills. It sits up kind of about as high as the columns go.
Okay.
And with 19 botanicals, and really as we go through the line, they all have all these different botanicals. They're not all in there the whole time. So we're introducing things as we go. Things like cilantro will cook out super quick, so they might only be in there for 20 minutes. So what we do is we have 4 trays. We line them with fresh herbs, fresh botanicals. And when we're ready to pick them up in the vapor, we turn off the column, and it forces the vapor up into the gin basket. When it comes back down, drops back in as a liquid.
Okay.
So we have this external gin basket.
That's interesting. That's a different way of doing it. But it would seem to me that that would be a less harsh on your ingredients too. So you can extract extract what you want without some of the byproducts like bitterness and stuff like that.
100%. That's exactly it. And when we get to
if you overdo it,
yep,
you get a lot of stuff that you don't want.
Yeah, cilantro, for example, cooks out really quickly, and it can.
Does anybody have the cilantro gene? It tastes like soap.
Oh, you're going to be good with the green chili.
Yeah,
then.
yeah,
Awesome.
you'll be fine. Yeah. All right, so let's try that one. What's the ABV on this one?
So this is going to be 45%. So all our gins are 90 proof. The big thing was to make sure we stand up in a cocktail.
All right, so this is in. You guys all have your trays. So this will be slot 1, or if you have we also have a play along at home mat too, tasting mat too. So you get those. I am not. I don't have that gene that makes it taste like soap, but I am highly susceptible to cilantro. I pick it out.
You can pull that one out.
I pull that one out.
I think that's a cool thing with Botanivore, the 19 botanicals. First off the bat, when you're trying it by itself, everybody kind of pulls out different things.
Yeah.
And then as you're doing cocktails, if you're doing a citrus forward cocktail, you're going to lose all that citrus, but you're going to pull out that spice in the black peppercorn, and vice versa with like a Spanish gin and tonic. You're going to get those beautiful citrus flavors to come out. So
yeah, really, especially at the end, you really get that. I mean, the finish, I get a blast of citrus.
Yep.
At the end. Do you guys get that? What do you guys think? Very good. You're not a gin guy? All right,
I'll take not bad.
He gave the New England seal of approval.
Well, I think
That doesn't suck.
that's the cool thing with Botanivore we've found over the years is it's a gin for gin drinkers, people who say they hate gin, who definitely, some of us drank it out of a plastic jug when we were 14. Or
Wait a minute. I'm going to back the truck up. Who drank gin out of a plastic jug?
I might be revealing my secrets.
Yeah. Remember when we talked about the skeletons in the closet?
I just
I didn't reveal. I just want to point out I didn't reveal anything.
You put me on a microphone, and
this is being recorded. He would be terrible in an interrogation. Yes, I did it. Thank you.
Folds right away.
Yeah.
But I feel like also your London Dry drinkers who are hardcore, they stick to their London Dries. They won't be too upset about Botanivore. Where our other gins are going to be maybe a little more polarizing for your traditional.
Yeah, but this is, I mean, the first flavored vodka is gin, right? I mean, for all intents and purposes, you're using in a lot of music. It's neat because it does have, and other people have gone like off the track, and some of these others might be, but for this one, it's like it's still definable as gin.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not tasting this and going like, oh, this is whatever flavored vodka. No, it still encapsulates that gin. The juniper is still there.
Yeah,
you're still getting that.
It's not dumbed down. It's just different.
It's just different. It's got a lot more high notes, I think, too. Really nice. I like that.
And for being 90 proof, like pretty balanced, right? It's
definitely balanced. Yeah, it's definitely balanced. You get it's a little warming, but it's not terrible.
Yeah,
it's not overpowering. What did you guys all like this one? Other than you, I get some thumbs up. I am not a gin guy, but on occasion I've been known to drink a lot of gin. Right. What's that? From a plastic? Well, that's him. I ain't touching that one. From a plastic jug.
The plastic bottles.
Well, okay. You don't need to explain it. Who? By the way, did everybody see like St. Patrick's Day? Did everybody see the police confiscating? What is it?
They're called Borgs, apparently.
Borgs, right? Okay, so I am not familiar with this trend. I'm Irish. We just drink our whiskey and or our beer. We don't really carry around these jug things. Borgs, you say? Borgs. What is it? Blackout rage gallons. That just sounds like so much fun to me. That's when I know I'm old. Blackout rage gallons. Okay. But my daughter, this is a big thing down at Gasparilla that they have in Tampa, where everybody dresses as a pirate that day. And that's where the first time I saw these things. And I'm like, what is that? And she's trying to explain it to me. But what was it again? Blackout rage gallons? Oh, it came out of COVID because everybody wanted to carry their own blackout rage gallon. Yeah, I can see that. I always want to carry the instrument of my demise around with me because it's healthier that way. Yes. Right? I'm worried about COVID. But blackout drunk's okay. The holding tank at the police station is going to be COVID free. So it has electrolytes in it. That's good. That's good. I think we could all do. I just looked at the picture of the officer with just the pile of these things around him, and I was like, "Oh, good Lord, what is happening right now?" Drink responsibly, please. You don't need to carry out the means of your own destruction with you. But anyways, I digress. You got me started with the plastic.
I know. Sorry.
The plastic jug of gin. All right. What's our next one here?
Super excited for this. So I know some of you guys we're at the last one we did. This is brand new. This is our Valley Gin. We launched this.
For sure.
Totally for sure. So Valley Gin. And it'll kind of be a theme as we go through. This Valley Gin is a love letter to the Central Valley in California. Which if you're familiar with the area, it's Fresno area, central of California, I guess as the name suggests. Inland, it's where all the produce is grown. More specifically, it's a love letter to the Lynn Cove Ranch, who we have been buying our citrus from basically since we have existed for over 40 years. The cool thing about the Lynn Cove Ranch is they're one of the last independent farms left in the valley.
Okay.
No chemicals, no pesticides, no monocrop. They let everything grow. And they ship this beautiful citrus all over the world. They do all your classics, but they also do the Buddha hand citrus and finger limes and Macrute limes and all these different things that they ship everywhere. And long story short, Lance and Dave, our owners and master distillers, have really become part of the family over there. And the patriarch of the farm, John Kirkpatrick, passed away in 2023. He was in his 90s, lived an amazing life. Lance and Dave were out for his celebration of life, and they had it out in the orange groves, and there was a little bar cart there, and naturally they gravitated over to that and started making drinks for people, and everybody was standing around telling stories about John, and Lance looked out into the orange groves and just said, man, I have to put this in a bottle. And we went back almost a year later with Valley Gin. So it's an orange blossom gin.
Yep.
Fresh orange blossoms, fresh dill, fresh cucumber. We're doing a little bit of nutmeg in there.
Who just went like, oh, it's the dill. She just said, oh, it's the dill.
It comes out, right?
Yeah, but what's cool about the dill is it's not immediately recognizable as dill. It comes off as cool. It's a cooling effect in your mouth rather than being like, oh, that's dill. I didn't pick it up right away either. And when you said that, I was like, yes, it is. And it's in it, but because it doesn't hit like you would like a dill pickle. It doesn't hit that way. It hits as like almost like I don't want to say menthol, but it's got that cooling effect to it too. Yeah. Cucumber. Would you pair this with a Pim's cup because you're getting a lot of cucumber? I don't see why you wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you can definitely do that.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm going to point out to you too. The one thing about St. George Spirits is that if you go to their website, there's about 1.5 bazillion recipes. People all the time ask me, well, what would I make? What would I make with this? This is one of the companies that I can point to and say, just go to their website. They will give you 1,000 ideas for each product of what you can make with it.
Absolutely. Those are all recipes from bartenders around the world. Takes on classics, but a lot of unique cocktails. We try to keep it semi-simple where there's no like butterfly tears or any kind of crazy things you have to come up with to make these at-home cocktails. But it's a great resource.
But although it is fun to tell butterflies sad stories and then harvest their tears.
But that's a great call with the cocktail. We are experimenting on a daily basis with this gin since it's been new to our portfolio. First new thing we've really put out in almost a decade. And we're finding Collins has been great, super refreshing. Bee's Knees, which usually isn't my go-to, but that orange blossom really goes well with the honey. And then Lance's favorite cocktail, which is becoming ours, is we call it the 00 Vesper. It's with our California citrus vodka, Valley Gin, and Lillet Blanc.
Oh, good. I might try that. I like Vespers. This is really good. Again, you're hitting hard on the citrus on this, but there's still a definable gin characteristic. So I don't think you've gone overboard with it.
Yeah, I think that they easily
could have. This is very balanced.
Thank you. Yeah, they easily could have just turned our citrus vodka into a gin, throw some juniper in it, but they would never do that. We want to be more unique, more different. And same with, we didn't just load up orange in a gin bottle. We wanted to really create that orange from the orange blossom, from the dill. And the process for the orange blossoms is crazy. Actually, right now it's about the season. I believe it's March, April, maybe a little bit of May. They can only pick them for about 2 hours a day in the morning because of bees. So they don't want to disturb the bees from pollinating all the orange blossoms, but also don't want to get stung 1,000 times. And I believe off the top of my head, it takes one person about 5 hours to pick a pound of orange blossoms. Our first shipment was around 18,000 pounds of orange blossoms, so it takes quite a bit of time. And they really have to be strategic on how they pick them. The fruit's worth more money than the blossoms, really, so they pick the ones that are overcrowded, the ones that are in the way, so
they're basically doing a pruning.
Yes, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Doing a pruning and leaving so that the ones that are going to go to fruit are going to be healthy fruit.
And they have plenty of room to grow.
Right. Yeah, because people are like, "Oh my God, you're taking all the orange blossoms. There won't be any oranges." There's plenty of them there, but you do have to you have to give everything room. To actually grow.
Yeah, if they get jammed up and it doesn't work. Yeah.
So most of you, has anybody else had the Valley Gin? so far? Because this is brand new. We just got this in like this past week. So, all right, good. They have it. You guys like it? Love it? Love it. Oh, love it. I heard a love it. That's
Like
way
that?
better than New England. It doesn't suck.
I know. I was
Love it.
looking for your reaction
Jeez.
right away.
That's good. Not bad. Not bad. All right.
We
so
should put that in our bottles.
yeah. Well, you got to say in New England,
Not bad.
not bad. Yeah, it doesn't suck. It only works here. All right, number 3.
Yes. Number 3, this Valley is coming close, but this is still pretty much all of our favorites at the distillery. The Terroir Gin, really the gin that launched all our gins. This is kind of similar story to the Valley. This is a love letter to the Bay Area. This gin, it's hard to see probably from up here, but the picture in the bottle is Mount Tamalpais, which is out in the Muir Woods National Forest, about 45 minutes from San Francisco, but it is full of redwoods and just beautiful. Many years ago, Lance was driving his son Franklin to summer camp, driving up the mountain, and the wind was blowing the trees and the sun was baking the trails, and he's same thing. I just got to put this in a bottle. This is you're gonna get slapped right in the face with a Christmas tree, and that's very intentional. We're literally distilling Christmas trees. So this is gonna be fresh Douglas fir. We work with fire management in the Bay Area, so the saplings that are coming up under the brush and the low-hanging branches really help spread the fire very quickly. And we work with them to pull the saplings, clip those lower branches, and then we rough chop those, and they go right into our stills. California Bay laurel, coastal sage that grow wild. Lance and his wife are known for maybe jumping some fences when they're walking their dogs to go pick some bay laurel from people's houses. Some Saigon cinnamon dust to kind of recreate that dirt on the trails.
That cinnamon pops.
Right?
You can taste the cinnamon. That just pops for me.
This to me is like people see terroir and they think of St. George. This ice cold martini, keep the vermouth away from it. Just ice cold gin, some oysters, and you're living it up.
Nice. I like this, and it does. For me, drinking these, it really does paint a picture. I mean, there are the botanicals in there are, so all 3 of these so different, and each one does sort of invoke different, the flavors itself invoke definite feeling, general feeling for what's going on.
It's a gin that takes you to a place.
I can see that.
People come up to us at tastings like this. I grew up in Colorado, and this reminds me of the Rockies. This reminds me of New Hampshire. Just this, you close your eyes and you're transported to somewhere else, somewhere where you are familiar with in the back of your brain.
Now, this one, you probably, a lot of you, if you're a St. George aficionado or a casual dabbler, this was probably one that you've had, right? Yeah. Do you guys still like this one? Yeah, I do too. Now you're going to come up with we used to have the 3-pack.
Yeah. So
we're going to have a 4-pack now.
No. So
what's going away?
So the dry rye's not going away. As some of you probably know, we're probably up to 24 SKUs at this point, which will be a little bit much to taste all y'all tonight. So the dry rye gin, definitely the outlier of the 4. It's not going away. It does what it does. The early results from seeing the Valley out in the market it's going to be just as.
So maybe the 3 will be those 3 now?
Yeah, so we are switching it currently now. We just stopped the 200 mLs of the dry rye, and the Valley gin will be going in. Yep.
Okay.
But dry rye is not going away. It definitely has a cult following. It's one we say we make for ourselves, but people who like it, they absolutely love it, but it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, I like that one too. I do like that one.
It is the whiskey drinker's gin. I probably should have put it out
okay.
for Whiskey Wednesday.
You'll be forgiven this once. Don't let it happen again, or you'll be drinking gin out of a jug.
Out of a milk jug.
Milk jug.
Borg.
Bork. Black. What was it again? Blackout Rage Gallon. I don't know why I can't keep that in my head.
Oh, that's what it stands for.
It's such a bad idea. We're not doing a lock and key one. No, we're not. No.
I did see a liquor store selling them. I didn't even know. I don't know how they do it. Somebody must make them. I won't say their name on
here. You will be
recorded.
assimilated. Resistance is futile. It can't be okay. Make tiny ones, he goes. Okay, it can't be made tiny ones if it's a blackout rage gallon. Rage tea, yeah. Teacups. All right. I think we've jumped the shark on this one. All right, let's moving on.
All right.
What's in slot number
So
4?
slot number 4, this is definitely a fan favorite. This is going to be our green chili vodka. Has anyone not had this? Awesome. Your live's about to be changed.
Forever. Even
Um,
more so than gin out of a plastic jug.
so this we like to describe as a mild pico de gallo in a bottle of fresh salsa. The one thing, you know, when Lance created this, he didn't set out to make some fraternity hazing shot with like ghost peppers and
Right.
melts your mouth out and can only be put in a Bloody Mary. This makes phenomenal Bloody Marys, but we wanted something a little more delicate and bright and herbal. Vegetal makes you think of food, chips and salsa and ceviche and tacos. So this is our green chili vodka. 100% non-GMO corn as well, like the gins.
So when you say that, though, just so people understand, you're starting with the base neutral grain spirit.
Yep.
And the grain is corn.
Is corn, yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
just so people understand. So that's what you're making the vodka with.
Yep.
And now you're going to. So how are you adding these flavors? Is it sort of the same idea as the gin? Or are you boiling with?
Yeah, great question. So with the green chili vodka, the cilantro is actually the excellent. Going back to your original point, where we were talking about the gin basket, the cilantro is only in there for a short amount of time. So to start with the peppers, it's 5 kinds of peppers: jalapenos, habaneros, serranos. But then we do yellow and red bell peppers, and then the fresh cilantro and lime peel. So the peppers, the lime peel going right into the stills. The fresh cilantro goes up into our gin basket with 4 big metal trays in there for a short amount of time. The times that I've been out there and we're making it, and I think I'm helping, but mostly just getting in the way, they have us, you know, we're turning on the cilantro, taste it. Okay, come back in 10 minutes, taste it again, still super fresh. And then we come back and he goes, see how it's just starting to get a little soapy? Turn it off. So it's like that quick that the cilantro is in that gin basket. The peppers go into the stills. Jalapeno is going to be the dominant pepper in here, but the serranos, habaneros, we level out in, as well as the bell peppers, in 2 separate tanks, for lack of a better word. We're leveling out the capsaicin to make sure they're going to be consistent and always
that would seem to me be your biggest problem, is keeping this consistent batch after batch.
Yeah, and we're going on 11 years now with this vodka, and it has always tasted the same. It's really important. We've maintained that original batch to always make sure we're tasting against it and tastes fresh.
Nice. It does taste like you just got a pepper, doesn't it? Like that sort of it, you know, that sort of flavor, but the flavor itself is just like it's super fresh.
Yep.
You can taste the crunch. I like that. So we'll go with that. All right.
You do get those bell peppers to come through.
You taste the crunch. We're gonna send that one in. Tell Lance we just came up.
Got it. TM.
Right here tonight. Steve just came out with your new slogan. $100? Okay. We'll give you a taste of whiskey tonight, Steve. You'll be all set. Don't worry about it. But you won't remember a thing after it's done.
We'll throw some apps.
Get his blackout rage gallon. Or his gallon of plastic gin.
The bloodies for sure. Mules are easy. One of my favorite cocktails with this is fresh watermelon juice, lime, and agave. It's a patio crusher sitting outside. Watermelon's easy to juice up, but it works with like these agua frescas and gimlets. It really, oyster shooters. It really goes nice with a lot of things.
It's got a good finish on it. What's that? Patio crushers. What is that? An Irish wrestler?
Oh, really?
Patio crush?
Oh, patio.
No, it's patio. Get it?
Got it.
All right. Dad jokes fly around here. You got to be careful. This is their only night out. The dad jokes fly. All right. Pay attention. They're quick.
That was a quick one. The heated words.
Yeah.
The website's like we really try to showcase some cool things on there. That heated words is a great one.
All right. You guys like that one? Does anybody not like this one? I'm just curious. Security? Well, do you don't like it's not hot. It's cilantro. Yeah. I was thinking that might be for some people a deciding factor because it's not hot. It's not like hot pepper, and I think that's important. But sometimes when people see the green pepper, the chile on it, they automatically assume it's going to be hot, and it's not that at all. If you really, like I said, I'm sort of like I taste cilantro really easily, but it tastes like cilantro to me, not like soap. So right. The other one just peaked up. This definitely has definitely the finish in the finish too. It's the cilantro is there definitely on this one. I like that too with truffles. I like truffles, but you can flip and put too much truffle. Like it's just it goes from, wow, that tastes really good. Oh my God, really? It's dirt. And it goes like to the other side for me. Like, so it's like, you go overboard with it. This one to me does not have a lot, but I could see if you're like really sensitive to cilantro with this, you definitely would taste it. I mean, you can't do it. All right. Good. I like it. It's only 3 people we had to kick out tonight. That's great. I like it.
I took notes on it.
Took notes. Yeah.
But yeah, it is one where you have to taste people.
Put out a hit on you. Just don't listen to them.
Because they do see chili in the aisle and they're like, no,
the chili definitely is one of those type of things. When they see that, they go, oh, hot. I go, well, because I've had people ask me, like, I don't want to add any heat. And this is one of the things I recommend.
Awesome.
Because it doesn't add heat. And then, so there you go.
We'll see it in split base with margaritas too. Half, 50% tequila or mezcal, and then a little bit of green chili goes a long way too.
Is that tequila vodka or vodka tequila? Vodka? Like something like that. All right. So you've been waiting all night. You've been very patient. We got halfway through. That's number 4. So as we cross the midway point, we shall give you a whiskey. Very magnanimously, we shall give you a whiskey. And not just any whiskey. Samurai whiskey, the St. George. By the way, I always love this picture on the bottle. Samurai St. George defeating the dragon. One of my favorites, and one of my favorite whiskeys to make a highball out of.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's called.
Baller.
Baller.
Yes. So Baller is one of our single malts. I'll kind of dive into Lance's history of single malt on the next one. But Baller came about 11 years ago. This, as you can tell, definitely Japanese inspired with the samurai. This is made grain to glass at our distillery in California. It really came about with that Japanese influence from our friends at Ramen Shop in Oakland, which you can imagine they sell ramen. One of our favorite restaurants. Lance's kids both work there. Dave Smith's wife worked there. We are up and down their cocktail menu. They have just a really special place to all of us at St. George. When you get hired, that's where they bring you for dinner. When you get fired, it's a way worse place. I luckily don't know about that one yet. But they were Lance and Dave were sitting at Ramen Shop, eating these delicious pork ramen bowls, and drinking Hibiki highballs, which were delicious. But they're sitting there and going, man, these are our friends. Why are they not drinking our whiskey? And our lot series, which we'll drink next, does not lend to ramen or highballs. It's just richer and darker and more chocolate. So they set out to make a highball whiskey for Ramen Shop. And it really was just supposed to be a one-time project for them. We did about 56 packs. And then it kind of got a cult following around the Bay Area. And then it started trickling out. It was California only for about 2 years. And then we had it kind of trickled out to our kind of top markets with that allocated word, which we hate at St. George. But had that, that limited release. And now
we took our allocation every time it came around.
Yes, absolutely. And then about 3 years ago, our single malt stock built up enough that we were able to mass release it. And now it's widely available everywhere. So to the whiskey, what's in it, which is probably what you want to know. This is 100% malted barley, predominantly 2-row pale, a little bit of lightly toasted Munich malt. So when Lance sets out to do these things, he didn't, with American single malt, which is, a new category, you know more than I. We were always just St. George single malt. Lance definitely doesn't like people telling him what to do. As they change the rules and they get more restrictive, we probably will fall out of the category, which will be totally fine by us. But this was, he didn't want to set out to
it's the life of its own now. It's the Baller. I mean, it's got a life of its own. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
And it's he didn't want to set out to make a Scotch in America. He wanted to make something different. So there's no peat. We're doing a hardwood maple charcoal chips. So you know, typically when you hear charcoal with spirits, it's filtering, but it's not filtering with these hardwood chips. It's actually adding that little bit of light smoke and a little bit of sweetness to it. Then it goes into barrels, mostly ex-bourbon barrels, a little bit of French oak that previously held wine. And then at the end, if you're getting it, it's a long whiskey, right? We are finishing it in umeshu casks. Does anyone know what ume fruit is? Plum, yeah. So it's gets called the Japanese plum a lot. Lance yells at me all the time and says it's not a plum, it's a stone fruit. I think it's the same thing. I hope he's not listening.
Plum
yeah.
is stone fruit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll argue with him.
So we actually get California grown ume fruit, which is, you know, it's not that common in the States. We don't really use this fruit a lot. But if, for example, if you ever seen like Choya, Japanese plum wine, it's that fruit in the bottom of the bottle. So we make our own umeshu liqueur in-house with shochu and organic rock sugar. The shochu we also make in California. So we basically put that fresh ume fruit into neutral tanks with the shochu and rock sugar. Takes almost 14 months to make that umeshu liqueur. We pull the fruit out. That liqueur goes into barrels around about the same amount of time, about 14 to 16 months, just to season those barrels with that umeshu. Then we pull that out, and the whiskey goes in there for 3 to 4 months just to finish it.
At the very end of this, I always get, and I always forget to have the beer department taste this for me, but I always get like a hop oil. Did I get anybody else get that? Yeah, she gets it. All right, right. What's that? What did you get it? Yeah, it's like a beer, reminiscent of beer, right? It has beer has hops in it, and that there's no pulling the wool over your eyes, but but it does, right? At the very end, it sort of has that little turn. Highballs for me, we actually have a canned highball right now
I heard
that
you
we've been
talking
selling.
about
Yeah, that we're selling right now. But highballs for me is one of those type of things. Is like everybody's like, oh, you can't drink whiskey with like food, and you know, my buddy Randall pointed out to me, well, we have whiskey pairings all the time. And I go, yes, we're pairing whiskey to food, but you're not quaffing. You're just sipping because that's how you drink whiskey. Because if we quaffed whiskey, Borg, um, we'd end up blackout drunk. But my response is, you make a highball because you get all like the sort of benefits, flavor wise of whiskey, with that quaffability that you would get from beer or wine, or wine. And so I that's why I love a good highball. This makes a great highball. I actually have it at my house just for such occasions. And that with a lemon wheel on top of it is killer for me.
Absolutely.
So if you're having like sushi, ramen, it's great. I love
it's a 94 proof whiskey, but it does, like, to your point, it's like drinking a beer essentially. It gets a little more sessionable when you put it tall with some nice good soda water and a little bit of lemon. It's something like, I know a lot of us at St. George, we like to drink when we're trying to take it down a notch, I guess, 94 proof whiskey. But after, 5 or 6 martinis, you go to a highball and kind of calm down a little bit. But it's, I'm
gonna leave the plastic jug on this one. I'm sorry, I don't even to go there.
But yeah, with that 94 proof, it really does open up. And again, like, that is where the name came from. They're like, do we call it baller? Do we call it high baller, low baller? Let's just effing call it baller. And
I think it was aptly named.
Yeah,
aptly named. Everybody like this? What do you think? Good, bad, indifferent? I'll never drink this again. Ryan, get me another bottle. That's out of the scale. I like this one myself. I personally do. I love this one. And by the way, I like it like this too.
I do too.
There are some whiskeys that you would make highballs, and they make very nice highballs that I don't necessarily would not drink on just their own.
Yep.
But this can be done either way.
It's great on its own.
It's got a lot of flavor to it.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of flavor to it. So like, you can just put a rock on this if you wanted to, or something like that too. It would also be really good that way too.
A Balvardier, as we said.
A Balvardier. Yeah. All right.
Lance
A
hates
man
that we
about,
say that, but it's
well,
a
it was
good
like a ball
cocktail.
about town.
Ball about town.
Doesn't really work, does it? I can see why Lance would get upset at that one. I get that one.
He doesn't
All
like
right.
our antics sometimes.
Yes, I can see where he could. He's like dad. He's like, no, stop. You've gone too far now. All right, number 6.
Yes, so excited about this. So this is the original. Lance often gets credit with being the original American, creating the original American single malt. But more importantly, as he says, it doesn't matter being first; it matters being the best. And he really set out to do that. So when Lance came on to St. George in 1996, he was a brewer just got out of the Navy. He was a nuclear engineer in the Navy, worked on the nuclear subs, and actually was stationed on Alameda, where our current distillery is. So it kind of came full circle. But
He never left.
Never left. Was kind of stealing beer at night and making his own whiskey in his garage. And then somebody said, you should go see this crazy German guy up in the Bay Area and see if you can get a job. So he brought his homemade bottle of whiskey as his resume. And Jorg said, well, tasted it and said, well, this is inoffensive, which broke Lance's heart. But turns out it was a compliment with Jorg's German sensibility.
It's like being a New Englander.
Yes.
See?
Very similar.
I get it.
So he hired Lance as the first really full-time hire at St. George. And that is when we laid down our first barrel of whiskey, which was 1996. We released it in 2000, and that became Lot 1. So this is called, we basically called St. George Single Malt, but it's called Lot 1. And as we go through, Lot 2, Lot 3, Lot 4, as we go on the years. This is Lot 24 that we're tasting tonight, which is our 24th release of the single malt. We have always done the same mash bill. It's going to be 100% malted barley again, pale malt, crystal malt, chocolate malt, Munich malt, doing some Bomberg malt as well. So the best way to describe this whiskey is, as we put it out every year, it's always the same style, but never the same expression, if that makes sense. So as we get older, our whiskey's obviously getting older. We're doing different barrels every year. We're doing different blends with our single malt. So every year they pull hundreds of barrel samples from all of our distillery.
It's still a blending process. People don't get that because just think
crazy.
it's single malt, and they get it in their head that it's single. It's not single barrel, single malt.
Yep.
It's made at one place. It's done with the same mash bill, but they're putting different barrels. So they're all going to come out a little bit different. And then the point at the end is now you're going to create what you want it to taste like.
Yep.
Off of those base points.
They'll pull these little barrel samples, sometimes up to 200, and just taste and taste and taste. Then okay, let's put this aside. And then after they pick all these samples, then they start breaking it down. Okay, let's try with 5% this, 10, and they go all the way through like that. So as you taste through our single malts through the years, you'll always know it's our single malt because it has that signature kind of.
It's got the same DNA, but it's got a different flavor.
Different flavor, and we're changing the finishes all the time that we're doing it with. This one, the youngest whiskey in here is going to be about 4.5 years old. The oldest single barrel was 11.5 years old. But we're also putting some of our other single malts in there, which were blends of blends. So there is whiskey going in here that's going back 24 years that has been sitting in other blends. So as we go along. But yeah, the super special release, we do about 500 6-packs a year. And we have no intention on changing that. That's globally, that's all we put out. Usually comes out around September, October. But yeah, super special one. And Lance actually was inducted into the Whiskey Hall of Fame in 2023. We're super proud of him. One of the youngest people ever inducted into the Whiskey Hall of Fame. And it's really for changing the American whiskey landscape.
Nice. Do you like this? How about this one? We're going to be able to get a little bit of this, and I'll go afterwards. I'll sort of tell you the background story of this, of why we're able to get a little bit of this. So if anybody wants some, I'll give you some pricing and stuff on that later. But this is extremely limited year to year to year.
And this year, we're so excited. This will be our 25th anniversary of releasing really the original American single malt. So we're going to put out a special label. We're not going to do a crazy expensive bottle. We're actually just going to keep it the same. But I know we're working on a commemorative kind of label, and Lance will definitely be out in the world talking about it coming up.
This is really good. I like this one. All right. What's the angel share for the barrels that you
in
got? Like,
California.
yeah, in California. From you guys got.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate to
If
just
Kevork is there, it's like 90%. If Kevork is not there, it's only a couple percentage
so
points here.
the Bay Area is really interesting because like where we are in Alameda, we're right on the ocean, we're right on the water, so right on the bay. So our view is the city of San Francisco. We're about a 15-minute boat ride from San Francisco, right? And the port of Oakland is right here. Those three areas have totally different climates. So the Bay Area in California is just microclimates up and down. If you're in the Mission, if you're in downtown, it could be 40 degrees at our distillery and 70 degrees on the other side in San Francisco. So it's not hot like Kentucky or these other places. It stays very mild. So I don't know. That's a great question, but yeah, absolutely.
He wants to know what the angel share is, and you can't tell him, so he figures you don't know. Now he wants a tour. I can tell you where this is leading to. This is leading to you losing some whiskey.
I'm gonna fly you out so
Yeah,
you can
do not
find
fly him out and do not give him a tour. If you want, your angel share will double if he goes to your distillery, especially where the barrels are being aged.
It is, if you do come out as our industry friends who come out, we can do a little bit more than the general public. You won't find too many, we don't have any fancy copper thieves at St. George. We have a dirty rubber hose that we've been using for a long time, and they leave it wherever we stop tasting, and we siphon it like you siphon gas, and we fill up your cup. So you have
That
to come out and
intrigues
see
him
it.
more than
Yeah.
you know. All right. Yeah, so we're not even going to get into that. You had plastic gin bottles. Well, never mind. Anyways, all right. So the next one that we're going to try is red.
It is bright red.
Bright red.
Real quick, if you're vegan, is anyone vegan? Okay, cool. So this is colored with bugs. So we do this the old school way. I just like to sometimes
Oh
I
yeah,
forget
you
to tell people that.
show that. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, Bruto Americano. This is
Bruto Americano. So this is used to be almost everything was done that was red.
Yep. Yeah, so the cochineal, which gets called carmine a lot in America, it's a tiny little bug. From my understanding, about 5 times smaller than a ladybug. The female bug has this red dye that's used as defense, I guess. But we, as humans, have been using this for red dye for thousands of years. Clothing. Now we're using it in makeup, in ice creams, in yogurts, and spirits. A lot of the big companies that made the red Amaros. They used to do it. A lot of them don't do it anymore. No knock on them. They make way more cases than we do. It probably makes sense. But yeah, we're very proud at St. George. We don't use anything artificial in anything that we create. So there is never an artificial ingredient, color, flavor in any spirit that St. George makes. And for us, we don't really know what's in petroleum-based red food dye. We'd rather not put it in our bottle, so we do it that old school way.
Just drink bugs.
Just drink bugs. So yeah, this is our take on the Italian aperitif. So even in the name, Bruto Americano, ugly American, like how dare we make an aperitivo? This is kind of our California spin on those beautiful spirits.
That's a good aperitivo.
Right?
Yeah, it's really good. And the Lot 24, just put a few drops of this in there. Nice. All right.
So it's bitter, but not that long punch in the face of bitter, right? And it's got that woodsiness to it. So we're doing gentian root for bitterness, Seville orange peels, ginger, pink peppercorn. We're doing some balsam fir that actually comes from Maine instead of California. He wanted those kind of northeast woodsy feel to it. Really works in your Negronis and your Boulevardiers, but also works in spritzes. Great with like a grapefruit soda. Low ABV, good for hangovers, I heard.
You've heard that, have you?
I've heard rumors.
Guy drinks gin out of a plastic jug. He said, "Yeah, I've heard it's good for hangovers." Borg. All right, I like that a lot. That's really good.
It's different, right?
Yeah, it's different. Very different. It's a gentian root. Yeah. We getting Moxie on me now? A little Moxie.
Forgot. Yeah, Moxie.
It's always like fun because there's so many things that are in New England that just are abhorrent to the rest of the country. Moxie being one of them. Just one. There's
Yeah.
many others.
The
But
people being the other one.
yeah, people. Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm
Hey,
from
Cal.
here. I'm from here.
All right,
I'm
all right,
from
all
here.
right, all right. That's okay. We'll let you slide on that one. All right. No, really good though. Like
Awesome.
it. Did you guys like that? Who's bitter?
Not for you.
No one likes a bitter?
I'll take it.
I agree with you. Don't be bitter. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Ooh. I picked up that one.
You like that one? It's been scientifically shown that people that grow up with dad jokes live a longer and healthier life. That's go look it up. Go look it up. All dads will agree. No, get a peer review. I'm serious. This is scientific studies that say it. You just love a dad joke anyway, so be quiet. Okay. Well, repeat the dad jokes? Sure, we can repeat those. All right. The last one is actually one of my favorite things, and I love having fun with this this particular liqueur.
Yeah.
And we've done a bunch of different stuff with it. This is one you can mix with your whiskey if you want something fun to do with that.
Absolutely.
This is not just a pear liqueur; it is a spiced pear liqueur. Correct?
Yep. Yeah, you nailed
All right.
it. So yeah, our spice pear liqueur, definitely most people's favorite in our portfolio. I've never met anyone who doesn't like this, and I won't believe you if you say you don't. This is made from our flagship, our pear eau de vie, the first thing we ever made in 1982. So this is pure pear, about 35 pounds of pear in every single bottle that we produce, believe it or not. We distill quite a bit of pears at St. George. So we use the whole fruit in here: stems, leaves, skin, seeds. Everything gets crushed, cold fermented with a proprietary yeast, kind of similar to a champagne yeast.
Okay.
Then distilled. The eau de vie then goes into tanks, and we basically just add water to proof it down. For the liqueur, we're doing some fresh pear juice back in there, whole stick cinnamon, cloves, a little bit of malic acid to bring back some of that fresh pear
Flavors.
to it. Yep.
Yep.
This mixes with everything. I mean, it's delicious on
If
its
you
own.
mix this with the baller, you will be very happy.
Yes.
If you have any of the baller left, I know you don't, but if you do, and you mix this with the baller, it is fantastic. It's one of my. It's almost sort of like one of my Christmas go-tos.
Yep.
I'll mix with the baller with this, and people are like, "What is that? That's so cool!" And it's whiskey and pale liqueur.
Spice pear old fashioned.
Yeah.
It's spice pear Manhattans. I mean, you replace the sugar with this. Spice pear margaritas, which sounds weird, but it goes so well with fresh lime juice and agave of your choice. And it definitely, we see the biggest spike for obvious reasons, like October to March. But we have organically been seeing it grow more and more over the years in the spring and summer. I mean, in your tiki cocktails and your great with sparkling wine, margaritas, spice pear margaritas are good all year. It just works with everything.
That's delicious. And this comes in this size, and it also comes in the 200 mil.
Yep. Yeah, we have that available.
We have both of them here
as well. Yep.
So, wow. I mean, we just ran a gamut here, a gauntlet, so to speak, of great tasting, everything, great tasting spirits.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's really what St. George is about. It's just top quality across the board. If you pick it up and it says St. George on it, it may not be your favorite, but it'll always be made right.
You know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
We had that with the new gin came out. I was trying to call people, hey, I have a new gin. Can I come by? Yeah, come by. I'm going to order it. I know it's good. Right. And that's the reputation Lance and Dave have built over the 40. We're on our 43rd year. Unbelievable. 43 years. We're still totally independent, which we're very proud of. We're not owned by any bigger spirit companies, no VCs, no investors. We're distiller owned and operated. And we're super proud of, I'm proud of them, of everything that we do at St. George.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, tonight. Thank you. We're gonna say goodbye to everybody at Facebook, and if you want, you can get this anytime you want on wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for "It's the Liquor Talking." We're gonna say goodbye to everybody. Join us anytime you want, but it's always better here live. You should have been here. It was amazing.